Hello, it's Mark from Enchantment of Eternity here. Now, I've been kind of teasing a little bit this week. I have an announcement when it comes to Star Trek and my plans to doing stuff, because it's been a while since I've done these Star Trek videos. I just actually been reviewing some of my old Star Trek reviews and stuff, and it's good stuff. So, as the video title already gives away, I am now resuming taking Star Trek episode review requests. Now, this is something I've done on my channel for several years, where I'd say any viewers can request an episode of Star Trek for me to review, and I will review it. And that's been kind of really successful. In fact, a bit too successful, because at one point I got completely overwhelmed with too many episode review requests, where at the point where I was like 3 or 4 months behind on. So if you requested an episode to review, I wouldn't get to it for like another 3 or 4 months. So I felt a bit overwhelmed. So at the start of the year, I started 2017, I decided to go on break, where I wasn't no longer taking episode review requests. Now, I said that would probably last about 3 or 4 months, and it's been 6 months, so the break lasted a bit longer than I anticipated, but that had to do with sort of show scheduling, because at first I thought a lot of shows like Better Call Saul, Star Trek Discovery, and I think a few others, and Sense8, I think they were all coming out in like January, February, but many of them actually got pushed back to later. So I wasn't as busy at the start of the year as I thought I would be, but that just meant I was still busy at the start of the year with like Black Sails and The Expanse and The 100. And so it just actually sort of just prolonged those busyness, because then Better Call Saul and Leftovers, 2 shows I wanted to review every single week. And I've made a point to limiting myself to 3 videos a week. So if I'm reviewing 2 shows every single week, then that doesn't leave, that only leaves 1 slot open for other videos, and there was a lot of other stuff I wanted to do. Yeah, Steve Rogers in the chat, he says that Star Wars is better, and I really don't like that argument. It's such an apple and oranges argument. I don't really care to even get involved in that. If you like Star Wars better, good for you. I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. But anyway, for those of you who do like Star Trek, I am resuming taking requests. Now, I've gotten like at least 6, I'm not sure, requests during this break. I gotten quite a few, and I felt bad, but I had to turn them down every time, because I wanted this break to be concrete, and because the whole point, so I didn't take note of it. So even though I'm resuming now, I'm not actually going to go back and look at the requests that you guys made and do it again, because the whole point of the break was to be on break completely. And if I had these requests looming over me, it would feel like it's looming over me, and I'd feel like it's sort of a pressure to get to it. So unfortunately, I had to just sort of write it off completely. But you are now welcome. If you're one of those people who made that request during this break, you are now welcome to resubmit your request, and I will get to it now. Anyone watching this video can submit the request in the comment section of this video, or any of my other videos, and in my Star Trek videos, any video basically. If you request a Star Trek episode, I will see the comment, and I will now take your request and review the Star Trek episode, but I won't be able to go back and redo any of the missed requests, so you'll have to submit them again. And plus, I'm keeping the rule of having 1 episode request per person. So I have a list of everyone who's already submitted the request, so unfortunately I will not be taking any second requests. And I know that some of you have like changed your username or have a second account, but I would just ask for honesty. I would ask you to be honest and polite, and not not put in a second episode request, because then it might lead to me, like, if I feel overwhelmed again with too many requests, it might lead to me going on another break, which I'd rather not do. So please, just one request per person. If there ever gets a point in time where I find I have a lot more free time and I feel like I'm, don't have much on, then I might open it up for those who've already submitted to submit a second request. But until then, I would ask that you only those who haven't submitted. So to give the chance to those who haven't submitted episode review requests. Again, and it's Colonel Doomsday in the chat. Hello, how's it doing? Good to see you as always. So that's not the only Star Trek announcement that I have. I'm also starting a thing now. Those who are familiar with my brother's channel, which should be most of you, Atkin Tomko has a channel. He's done like a couple of Star Trek videos himself, and he had sort of a different format where he did Star Trek Next Generation. He went season by season, so he'd have a video for season 1, a video for season 2, et cetera, and he'd cover every sort of episode in that season in one video, but he'd do it sort of rather quickly, so it'd be like a range from like 20 to 45 minutes long, I think, if memory serves, each video. So he wouldn't spend too much time on each episode, but he'd cover every single episode. So by the end of the series, he got all 7 seasons, so every episode of Next Generation. So the reason I bring this up is I'm sort of borrowing that format a bit, and I plan on doing the same thing, but for Star Trek Voyager. I've already watched the first season of Star Trek Voyager and written most of this review, and I plan to have it up by this weekend. My season 1 Star Trek Voyager review, where I go through every episode of Voyager. It's kind of long, but there's only 15 episodes in season 1 because it was kind of shortened season. So maybe in future seasons I'll have to try to be a bit more concise. Otherwise, the videos will end up being over an hour long, which I can't do. That's just too much. But this is in lieu, like, if you still want to request Voyager episodes for me to review, you can, because my individual episode reviews, I get into a lot of detail about each episode and really analyze it, whereas in these season-long reviews, I'll just go very quickly through each episode. And I'll even cover the episodes that I already done reviews for, but I usually mention, hey, I did a review for this. If you want to know more of my thoughts on this episode, you can check out the review. But it's going to be a way to cover every episode of Voyager. And Colonel Doomsday says, oh, wow, that's ambitious, man. Not really. I mean, and also the other thing I will say is I do plan, and hopefully I'll be able to stick to this plan, of doing a video each season once a month. So at about the mid-month of every month, I plan on having a new season of Voyager out. So hopefully in 7 months, I'll have all 7 seasons of Voyager. And although for a while I was doing like a quick review every week where I was watching a new show and doing a quick review, and I stopped doing that. I had to stop doing that in order to do this Voyager thing, which I frankly would rather do. I'd rather explore Star Trek more than these newer shows that people might not be as interested in. And I see Madstad Productions in the chat. Hey, how you doing? Always good to see you. And Colonel Doomsday says you've reviewed my favorite Voyager episode. Oh yeah, I'm curious, which episode is that? Is that Jatrell? Or I'm trying to think what else that could be. I know you requested a Deep Space Nine episode, not a Voyager one, so I don't know which one is your favorite Voyager one. So Redneck, it was a Redneck Lover 22, I believe is the username. Would love a review of Star Trek TNG, The Outcast. Being a gay man, I have a lot of thoughts on Star Trek and gay issues. Okay, well, I was actually going to say any request you have, you put in the comment section below, but I'll make a note of that. I'll put that. In fact, so that will be the first episode. I'll officially announce it here. That will be the first episode I review, which I'll do next week. The Outcast, and I do think you might have requested this during my break. So there we go. that will be the first one. Although I will say, I suppose that might speak to you more as a gay man, but I will say my favorite LGBT Star Trek episode is actually not The Outcast, because I find The Outcast a bit of a cop-out in some ways, but I'll get more in this in my review of it. My favorite one is Rejoined, the Deep Space Nine one, which involves Dax and having a sort of female-female kiss. Yeah, I just think that tackles the LGBTQ sort of issue more head on than Outcast, which is Outcast. I find a bit of a cop out, but even Rejoin doesn't really tackle it head on. But I love the symmetry that it never actually says it's about gays or lesbians, but you see a same-sex couple. So that's actually my favorite. I think a lot of people tend to focus more on the Outcast when it comes to Star Trek LGBT commentary. But me personally, I think Rejoined is a better example, an overlooked example that a lot of people don't focus on when they should. So hopefully someone will request Rejoined, or maybe I'll just have to do it myself. But yes, I will do Outcast. Will be the first one I do. Yeah, and Redneck Lover 22 says, "Oh, I agree. It is a big cop out." Okay, well, good. So I won't be accepting it. And Matchdogs Productions, I'm watching Deep Space Nine right now. I guess you mean right at this very second. Okay, well, that's good. Deep Space Nine is good stuff. Darth Woody says, I finally got the Data Lord joke 20 years plus later. Well, good for you. And Colonel Doomsday says, I like Cogenitor myself. Oh, yeah, Cogenitor is a great episode. I'm not sure if that's directly about LGBT as much per se. I saw that more of a cultural thing. It's wider. And that's actually the one that is the best, first or second season Enterprise episode, because you know how I feel about the first two seasons of Enterprise. They sucked big time, but Cogenitor is actually the one sort of good thing that come out of those first two seasons. And I think I did in fact put that on my top 10 Enterprise episodes. Let's see. And Video Angelo. Right, fuck up simple names. Sorry. Vitor Angelo. I'm sorry, I'm very horrible. I'm just awaiting a leftover season 3 review. Haha, just kidding. Don't want to spoil any live here. Actually, I will let you know I won't be doing an overall review of season 3 of The Leftovers. Unfortunately, I stopped doing just because of time restraints, and I found those videos weren't actually getting that many views. Although some of them started getting a lot of views when it gets closer to the next season coming out. But since there won't be a next season of The Leftovers, that's kind of a misnomer. But I will say, check out. I did a live discussion with Afghan Tomko yesterday. It was on my channel. Just did it yesterday. If you want my thoughts on season 3 of The Leftovers, definitely check that out. It's like an hour and 45 minutes long. It's full of good stuff. You get all of my feelings on Leftovers season 3 in that video. So if you haven't already, check that out. Let's see here. Let's see. Colonel Doomsday says, no, I'm not sure it's LGBT, but hey, it's better than Trip getting pregnant. Yeah, that episode was such a wasn't the worst thing, but oh my god, what a bad episode. Anyway, Colonel Doomsday in the chat when asked what your favorite Voyager episode was, it was Nemesis. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. I don't think it quite made my top 10. It was an honorable mention, but yeah, top 20. So love Nemesis. I think that is a very underlooked episode. In fact, I did that in the category of underlooked episodes. But yeah, getting back to my Voyager Yeah, so I plan on reviewing. I'm gonna end up covering every episode of Voyager. Now it's funny because some people might ask, "Well, why do Voyager?" Because Deep Space Nine seems like it would be the more obvious sort of choice. Because Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek series. It's one of the more popular. It's more popular than Voyager, but for some reason, there's something about the structure of the seasons of Voyager that I find fascinating, because Voyager goes through, and it's something I want to explore, particularly season by season. Like episode by episode, I would prefer to look at Deep Space Nine, but this kind of format lends itself to more of a season by season. It was interesting getting my brother's take on how the season by season journey of Next Generation went. Of course, I really disagree with him on season 7. He really didn't like it, where I actually think season 7 was one of the better seasons of Next Generation, but that's neither here nor there. With Voyager, it's interesting because I do have a very different opinion, and I was watching, in preparation for this, I was watching a lot of Lore Runners channel, who Colonel Doomsday in the chat introduced me to his channel, where he did every single episode. He did like an hour long, like ruminations, he called it, for every single episode of Star Trek Voyager. It took him 4 years. So in comparison, me doing this season by season, 7 months is nothing compared to that. You talking to Colonel Doomsday, you talking about big undertaking. It's nothing compared to that. That's huge. And it's interesting. It was really interesting getting his take, because I love watching his videos. He's very insightful and analytical, more so than me. I watch some of my videos and I'm just like, oh, fuck it. Where he's more sort of calm and thoughtful than me. But hey, that's his thing. My thing, I guess, is to yell when I get pissed off, but that's okay. But I enjoyed the series, but I disagree with some of his opinions. So it'd be good to, and that's fine. It's good, perfectly good to have disagreements. For one thing, he put Dark Frontier as tied for his favorite Voyager episode. And if you know my opinion on Dark Frontier, it's more like in my bottom 10. And there's a couple episodes I love, which he didn't really care for. But most of all, I think for the most part, we see eye to eye. I just thought getting what the main thing I think that I want to stress in the series I'm going to be doing, which is kind of a huge difference from the perspective that he gave, was I really loved the first 2 seasons of Voyager, where I think he was less big on the first 2 seasons. And when I was watching his reviews, for his ruminations, I should say, for season 7, he talked about how much he liked season 7. But for me, season 7 is one of the worst seasons of Voyager. In fact, this is one thing I'm going to be really interested in when I'm doing my rewatch of Voyager, because I just finished season 1, so I still have 6 more to go, is whether or not I'll think season 3 or season 7 is the worst, because those are by far I think the 2 worst seasons of Voyager. And I think he actually preferred season 3 over season 1 and 2. So that's another huge difference for me, because for me, season 1 and 2 are like the best seasons of Voyager, and season 4. Of course, everyone loves season 4. That's where we agree. Season 4 is great. But for me, it's like, and I'm sort of giving away my plot here, but seasons 1 and 2 was amazing. It's the best start any Star Trek series has ever had. And to me, and I think it was when the show was at its best, because it had a sense of community and a sense of continuity that was lost in the later seasons, especially so season 1 and 2, I think, were great. Season 3 they just lost the plot. They totally fucked up what they had established in the first 2 seasons, and it just went, and at that point the show was almost done for. But then, so they had to completely restructure it, and introduce 709 and introduce the Borg and do all this new shit for season 4, which is what they needed to do. So season 4 was a renaissance, but it was almost a totally different show. It wasn't like the same thing as it was in seasons 1 and 2, but it was still good in its own way. But after season 4, it just slowly started declining. Like season 5 was a big drop down, and then season 6 season 6 is weird. It had its good points, but it was still kind of going down. And then season 7 is just one. So that's a totally different perspective than Lore Runner, who totally sees it a different way. But that's the way I see it. I see season 1 and 2 is great. Season 3, season 4 was a renaissance, and then after season 4 just slowly declined until season 7, which was shit. So that's why I'm interested in exploring Voyager instead of, that's my answer why I chose Voyager over Deep Space Nine or Next Generation or original series. And God help me, no one's going to force me to watch Enterprise and do this for Enterprise. I love season 3 and 4 of Enterprise, but I am not, oh my God. The thought of being forced to do this for the first 2 seasons of Enterprise is just cringy. But Voyager, definitely, it was, yeah. I look forward to exploring this different seasons and the journey it goes through, even more so Deep Space Nine, because Deep Space Nine I think is good. Like, there's seasons I prefer, but it's kind of hit or miss with each episode, and it's kind of, there's good and bad in every single season. Even the first 2, which I think are the more subpar of Deep Space Nine, even they have, like, that. My favorite Star Trek episode of all time is in season 1 of Deep Space Nine. So to them, their format is sort of more over the place. And of course, Apkin already covered Next Generation, so I wanted to do something different. And who knows, maybe I will cover Deep Space Nine sometime in the distant future, but not thinking about that for now. I'll cover Voyager. So let's see what's going on in the chat here. Oh, wow, I might have to scan back up. I must have missed a bit. I've been blabbering on a bit. So Colonel Duzay says DS9 finale for me. I'm not sure the context of that. You let me know. Darth Whiffley says Future Janeway was cool. Are you talking about Endgame? You should know my feelings on Endgame. That's another huge disagreement I had with Lore Runner, because he thinks that the finale of Enterprise was that These Are the Voyages would be the worst finale, but he doesn't technically consider it finale. But he thinks it's the worst episode in Endgame, and I totally disagree. I think These Are the Voyagers is not nearly as bad as everyone says it is. I mean, it is a bad finale. It is a bad final episode. I get that, but as an episode in its own right, if you just judge it as an episode it's on, it's just an averagely poor episode. I think there's tons and tons and tons of episodes in the first 2 seasons of Enterprise that are way, way worse. I would take These Are the Voyages over most of the first and second season of Enterprise any day of the week. And of course, I've already done a full-length review of this episode, so I have already gone into full detail about this. Whereas Endgame was just pure shit. It's just pure shit, and I've already talked about this at length on my channel. But anyway, Jesus Christ. Yeah, and Cardinal Doomsday agrees with me. He says, same here, Mark. I hate Endgame with a passion. Absolutely. And Darth Whitty says, accidental joke spoiler. Okay. Colonel Doomsday in quote says, Voyager, let's hit the reset button. Sigh. Yeah, that is a major issue, and of course I'll be getting all in that. And I think Lore Runners covered this as well. So and I actually think this is worse in the later seasons, which is another reason why I prefer the first 2 seasons of Voyager, because they had more of a sense of continuity. They had more of a sense of being serialized, whereas the later season got way more carried away with hitting the reset button after every single episode, and that very much bothered me. And watching interviews with, and it's funny talking about Lore Run again, because he always brings up Rick Berman has a major issue of why Voyager failed, and it is, and particularly with Endgame, which I didn't realize, so I found that very enlightening. But I like to pick more on Brenna Braga, and I do, after watching his videos, I do see that Rick Berman is probably more to blame in certain instances than I thought. That wasn't really Brenna Braga, but I will still put the blame squarely on Brenna Braga's shoulders for the reset button incident, for the lack of continuity, because I've seen interviews with him. I've seen his mentality. He thinks he's against Star Trek being serialized. He thinks it should be episodic, and that I think is his fault. He ruined Voyager with that mindset, which is the completely wrong mindset to have. Ronald D. Moore was so much better on Deep Space Nine because he had a different mindset, and he went on to do Battlestar Galactica, which is amazing. And he's actually the better showrunner. And that's why Deep Space Nine, that's ultimately a major reason why Deep Space Nine is better than Voyager, because Ronald D. Moore is better than Bernard Breger, even though I know they're both friends and they've worked together on some famous Star Trek scripts like First Contact and a lot of great Next Generation episodes. But I think when they went off and did their own thing as a showrunner as being quite different than just a script writer. And I don't think Brendan Braga was off to the tack. And I think the fact that Rick Berman was off interfering and fucking things up just made things worse and was a major reason why the first 2 seasons of Enterprise were absolute garbage. Garbage! Anyway, let's see. Redneck Lover 22. When I think Seven, I always think of her and the Doctor doing a duet. You're My Sunshine. Yeah, that was a great episode. A great moment. Colonel Doomsday says, a Mark Crane is a gift from the gods. Well, thank you. And yes, he agrees it's much worse. In later seasons, Darth Withy says, what are your thoughts on STD, Star Trek Discovery? That's the first time I realized that the initials for Star Trek Discovery are STD. That's funny. I can't believe I didn't put that together. Oh my god. Colonel Doomsday says he's fucking wrong. Who are you referring to? I'm not sure. STD. Well, my thoughts on STD are a lot of, see, it's weird because I did a trailer review for STD and I got like the like to dislike ratio was very low. Like it was bad, I guess you would say. A lot of dislikes, still slightly more likes than dislikes, but a lot of people disliked the video, and for different reasons, because people are all over the place with STD with Star Trek Discovery. Some people hated what I had to say about it because they're like, oh, you're being too hard on the Abrams reboots. You're just a stupid Trek nerd who doesn't appreciate action, which is a stupid straw man argument. It has nothing to do with action or modernizing or any of those straw mans these stupid people put out. It's the fact that his Abrams movies, especially the first one, which for some reason, which will always be the greatest mystery in life to me, that everyone and the critics seem to love, it was absolute total shit. It was garbage. It was garbage. It was a bad script. It doesn't matter what the fuck if you call it Star Trek, you call it another science fiction. It was poor writing, bad characters, poorly written villain, a script that's all over the face, was like CGI going blah, 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 blah. Has nothing to do with action, has nothing to do with modernizing. It sucks. It sucks. So some people were unhappy with, and I'm sure I'll get dislikes on this video too because of that, but who cares? So some people disliked my Discovery trailer review because of that, and others disliked it from the opposite way because they thought I was being too generous to it. They thought it looks like a travesty. This Star Trek Discovery looks like it's going to be a total piece of shit. Why are you being so generous to it and saying it looks good? It's going to suck. Don't bother with it. But I don't take either position. My position is I'm in wait and see mode. I'm still very hopeful, actually. I'm still very open to STD. I think, there's been a lot of talk behind the scenes, a lot of problems behind the scenes. Brian Fuller leaving, of course, was a huge blow to the show. So there's been a lot of sort of talk in that regard. But that doesn't mean it's going to suck. I wouldn't be so quick with these behind the scene issues because I think too many people, especially critics, left that behind the scenes stuff influence their opinion on what they watch, and they've already decided. When they hear that, they already decided the movie sucks before they even see it, and I think that's dumb. I think that's the bad way to look at it. So I'm not going to look at Star Trek Discovery that way. I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind, but I'm not going to let that influence what I see on screen. If what I see on screen is good, then I'm going to judge it for its own. So I still think it could be good. I don't like the fact that it looks like the Abrams reboots, and I mentioned that in my trailer review, which is probably why I get a lot of dislikes. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to like it. If it's good, it's good stories, good characters, then it's not going to matter what it looks like. I'll just move past that, move beyond it. It's not a huge deal. It's just a bad first impression, but it doesn't really bother me. So I'm still hopeful, and I'm still planning on covering Star Trek Discovery when it comes out, and I'm still eagerly waiting for it, and I think it still could be good. I'm willing to give it a shot. And I think I said this before, is I think it looks better than Enterprise did. When I heard about Enterprise and I saw the trailers for Enterprise before that came out, I was way more worried about that than I am about Star Trek Discovery. I'll put it to you in those terms. So I think it has a better chance of being better than Enterprise did. So we'll see. Anyway, let's get back to the chat. Colonel Doomsday says Voyager should have been serialized. Absolutely true. Darth Vader says, looks at him like, hey, babe, how about some STD? Oh, no, that's very bad. Yes, Colonel Doomsday is track nerd and proud of it. Absolutely. At Kentucky, I came in right in the middle of Mark's real Star Trek 2009. Well, the perfect place to join. Cool. And are we calling it the show STD now? Well, I don't know. Someone just mentioned that in the chat, called it. I thought that was funny because I hadn't actually put it together that the initials for Star Trek Discovery are STD. But yeah. And Atkins says, I'm sorry, I don't think I can do that. No, I was just doing that as a joke mainly. I call it Star Trek Discovery. Wow. Let's see. And then Napkin says, if I hate it, I'll call it STD all the time. And he says, man, I contracted an STD watching that show last night. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I won't normally refer to it as Star Trek Discovery, but yeah. Colonel Doomsday says those Klingons look reptilians indeed. Yeah, they kind of do. Absolutely. Anyway, so I got those are my thoughts on Star Trek Discovery. Kind of got off track, but yeah, as I was saying with Voyager, I will be doing So I will be covering every season once a month, and the first season one should come out this weekend. And I'll also try to squeeze in episode reviews, which will become a bit harder when Game of Thrones starts because I'm going to be busy with Game of Thrones, but I'll try to squeeze them in, and I'll do the first one will be the Outcast requested here in chat. And after that, just submit your reviews if you haven't already. Please, one episode review request per person. But yes, I will be taking any episode requested. Cool. Great. So I think I want to talk a little bit about I went to New Zealand Comic-Con, which was kind of pathetic for a con, but I see like Josh and Anna from Geeksiders and stuff like that going to all these conventions, and Don Willie talks about going to conventions. So I thought I'd at least check it out and see what it's like. Of course, the one here in New Zealand, like, had a bunch of like minor like TV stars that I've never heard of from mostly teeny bopper shows, I will say, that I don't watch. And the only guest stars that they had there that I'd heard of was, I believe her name is Jewel. I can't pronounce it. It's State. Something like that. Anyway, the chick who was in Firefly, who played the engineer, I can't even remember her name, and she was in Stargate Atlantis. And apparently she's on the show Supernatural, which I don't watch at all. And so she was there for the Supernatural panel, but she did a Firefly panel, but I missed it because it wasn't the day I could go. But the only other show that I watched that had people there from was The 100, and it had the So Murphy, if you watch the 100, you should know Murphy. The actor who played Murphy was there, and the actor who played Jackson. Now, if you told me Jackson, I had no idea who that character is. And in fact, I had to see a picture of the guy to know. But it's the sort of Abby's lab assistant, who's actually been on the show since season 1, and he's still in the show. So he's been there the whole time, but he's never been like a major role. Like, he's always been that guy in the background. I noticed him more because I saw him in this other show on Netflix I watched called You, Me, and Her, which was a silly sitcom. I don't know why I watched it, but he had a small role in that as well. So must have also been filmed in Vancouver. But yeah, he was there, and so that's the only sort of talk that I went to was with those two people from the 100, and they're relatively minor characters. I mean, Murphy's become more important, but at first I thought they were going to kill him off in season 1, but he's still around in season 4. In fact, the actor even said, I thought they were going to kill me off in season 1, but they seemed to like him, and they kept him around. And then it was the two of them talking for a bit about the 100. It was mostly them just joking around, saying, and they weren't really that funny, to be honest. So it was kind of boring, but it was interesting. I think it was an interesting experience to just going to the con and seeing all the different cosplay, like lots of cosplay and stuff. I almost cosplayed as Jon Snow myself because I had a friend who does, fabrics and stuff, and she was going to help me put it together, but then kind of ran out of money and time, and so that never happened. Maybe next year. Didn't go as Jon Snow. I saw these girls who cosplayed as Arya and Sansa, and they did such a good job, and there was other people getting their pictures taken. I almost went and got my picture taken with them, but I was a bit too shy to do that. But what I did get is Neon, which is the internet service in which Game of Thrones airs in New Zealand, because we don't have HBO, we don't have HBO Go, so it's sold out to Soho, which comes on satellite television, and their off-put internet service is called Neon, and they had a booth with the Iron Throne, so you could get your picture taken on the Iron Throne. So I went ahead and got my picture taken on the Iron Throne. Now, those who like my Facebook page probably already seen it because I put this up on my Facebook page of me sitting on the Iron Throne, but I thought I'd quickly share that with you guys for those who aren't subscribed to my Facebook page. Jules, yeah, I see how it's written, Colonel Doomsday, but I still can't pronounce her name. Anyway, hold on. Let's see. 1 second here. Just gonna blah blah blah. Here we go. Cool. Present to everyone. Okay, hopefully you should be seeing that. That's me on the Iron Throne. There we go. That's right. You see the thing, the advertisements for Neon. No, that's the thing it came on. So that's one cool thing I did. Actually got to sit on the Iron Throne. Although it wasn't, of course it was made out of plastic, duh. But that was a fun little thing to do. Right. And I went to a hold on, I'm just trying to bring up the chat again. I lost you guys. Totally lost you guys. Oh, wait, here we go. Let's see. So I went to a part of the con kind of had all these different events and stuff. Like I did board gaming most of the time because that was fun. But I went to a quiz night, which was sort of geek themed or whatever. And I just rocked up there by myself, and they put me in a team with some other people. And we came in third place out of like 15 teams. So I was quite happy with that because we actually really complimented each other, because all the stuff I didn't know, they knew, and all the stuff they didn't know, I knew. Like there was like all the Doctor Who stuff and all the old British like sci-fi, which I never heard of and never really watched. Like they knew all that, and of course I knew all the Star Trek stuff, all the Game of Thrones stuff, and the other like dark matter. They hadn't even heard of dark matter, and it was a dark matter question. I was like, ooh, I know this one. So So we actually came very good, came in third place. There was one of the rounds in the quiz night was you guess, they show you like an image and tell you a little bit about the image and say what season is this from a TV show. So like they show a picture of like Locutus and Dr. Crusher or whatever and say it's from Best of Both Worlds Part 2. So obviously that's season 4. And so they had 11 like questions so from 11 different TV shows. So you had to guess which season. Each season was different. And we got a perfect score on that because of me. I knew everyone. And the only two that I didn't know were like Doctor Who or whatever. We were able to figure out through process of elimination because the other people on my team kind of had an idea of maybe where it might have sit. And because I eliminated all the other sort of numbers, we were able to figure it out. Anyway, so I'll show you my prize. And now for those of you who are very observant, you might have noticed this already. But this is what I won from getting third place in the quiz night. Hold on. It's what's her face, Jules Stites. Yeah, you said her name. You know her name. Anyway, I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Here we go. Signed autograph to me, even though I didn't get to meet her personally, which is actually the whole point of getting these things. I'm sure Josh and I probably have one of these, maybe, or a whole bunch of different actors and stuff. But yeah, that was my prize for winning third place. If we would won first place, I would have been able to get my picture taken with her. But without that, it would cost like $80, and I don't want to pay $80 just to get my picture taken. Maybe if someone from Game of Thrones, sure, I'd pay $80, but. Yeah, I'm not even that huge of a Firefly fan. It says aim to misbehave, which is pretty cool. But I actually preferred her in Stargate Atlantis, to be honest. I'm more of a Stargate Atlantis fan, but either or, it works and it's interesting to have. So I just put that back on display here. So, yeah, I think that's about it. I'm just going to see what's going on in the chat and then probably just head out. So, Avkantanka says, you have to look angry if you're going to sit on the Iron Throne. Yeah, I don't know if I look angry. I look more like some people are like smiling. And, of course, the most common one is the people that sort of dress, sort of lay out and put their legs up or whatever, like I own the throne. But I started to, I decided purposely decided to do more of a commanding look, like I'm the commander. It says, and also says you don't get on Iron Thrones by being happy and nice to everyone, dude. Absolutely. Let's see. Colonel Doom says, yeah, I know all the old British sci-fi stuff. Granted, but maybe. I don't know. And Colonel, he also says, granted, but he looks like he's going to behead someone. I don't know if I look like I'm going to behead someone. Let me bring up, and now I got to bring it up again because you guys are talking about it. Hold on. Let me find it. Here we go. Sorry. It's a bit slow moving. Let's share it again. There you go. Have a look at it. I don't think I look like I'm going to be. It's almost like a half smile, actually. So I don't think a half smile looks like I'm about to behead someone. But I don't know if I look that angry. I try to look more sort of commanding, but I think the half smile sort of makes it not look that angry. So I'd probably disagree with you slightly there. Yeah. Anyway, what else have we got going on here in the chat before I take off? Yes. Take that as your house words, Mark. Lounging around. Colonel Doom says that's a smile. It's a half smile. I think it is. It's not a full smile. It's kind of like you can see this sort of because I didn't want to give a full smile. I didn't want to be like sitting on the Iron Throne. Where some people were. They would sit and go like. But most people, I think, tried to be more sort of commanding, or this is my throne. So yeah, that's kind of more the direction I went to. And Redneck Lover 22 says, only British show I ever watched was You're Being Served. Haven't heard of that one. Cardinal Doomsday says, poor you, but I'm not a fan of British shows, to be perfectly honest. Perfectly frank. Although, I like Humans, which is a good show. But in general, I'm not that huge of a thing. And Afghan Tonka says, I didn't actually think you looked angry, Mark. Well, yeah. Maybe a little bit, but I don't think I looked that angry. But there we go. Yeah, Afghan Tonka says, except Humans. Yes, do like Humans. And so I'm open to British shows. Like, I kind of like the Sherlock, the newer one, Benedict Cumberbatch. I didn't think it was the best thing ever. Like, I actually got a couple of requests to do reviews for it, but it's been years since I'd seen it, and I wasn't as interested to actually go back and revisit it. Not really, because it wasn't that great. It was good, though. I liked it. It was good. It was good for British. Sound like conceited American, sorry. But yeah, we do get British shows, of course, are a lot more common here in New Zealand, and probably, of course, in Australia as well, where Colonel is, more mainstream, I would say, because we're, it's all foreign to us. American, British, it's all foreign, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I think I will wrap things up here, sort of after my sort of wrap up of my convention time. I don't know if I'll bother going again unless they have some better guests. Oh, they did have that one guy who, if you've seen Battlestar Galactica, and he's been on a few other shows here and there, but I can't remember. I'd have to look him up, which I don't feel like doing and take up too much time. But he played like the lawyer in an episode of Battlestar Galactica. I think he showed up later in season 4 as well. But at the end, I think it was the finale of season 3. There's this lawyer, like sleazy lawyer guy who had like a cat who ended up just being a dead cat or whatever, and he was blind, I think. I don't know. I thought that character was kind of dumb, but that actor was there, and he was actually the most popular one. Like, they had to have this huge section for the signatures because everyone wanted to get his signature. I'm not sure why. Obviously, it's not from Battlestar Galactica. He's on some other show, maybe Doctor Who, and maybe also some other newer shows that I don't watch, never heard of. But for some reason, he was really popular. I've seen him in a couple other things too, but now I'm interested. I'll have to go to IMDb and look him up. But I had no interest in getting his signature, especially paying $30 for it. So there you go. Yes. So, Alcantanga says, I don't remember who you're talking about. Blonde lawyer with the cat on BSG. I don't remember. I don't recall. Well, go to IMDb and look up the season 3 finale, and I have a cast list of and this is the one dude. No, I'm talking about. He was I don't know. I'll have to send you something in email or whatever. But yeah, that dude. Anyway, cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Been going on much longer than I thought it would, but it's all good. So yes, be sure if any Star Trek episode requests, reviews, if you haven't done so already, feel free, leave them in the comment section below of this or any other of my videos, any video you feel like. Go right ahead, and also keep an eye out for my Voyager series reviews, whatever. And thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Oh, okay. Just Adkin Tomka asking about the guy saying, was he a human? Yeah, he was a human. He was on it was the trial at the end of season 3, where Lee, I can't even remember what the fuck the trial was about. No, it was Beltar. Gaius Beltar. He was Gaius Beltar's lawyer, because Gaius Beltar was put on trial. That was the whole plot of the season 3 finale. And so Lee, I think he was like a president. He wasn't quite the president at this point, but I think he might have been a lawyer, but he stopped being an officer, and he wanted to find a lawyer, Yeah, he was like the secondary lawyer. Lee was like the second lawyer, but he wanted to have the main lawyer. So it was this sleazy lawyer guy who was like, I think he was blind. I don't think he was blind. He might have been blind. I can't remember. But he always talked about this cat. But then you find out at the end of the episode that the cat's actually dead, and he's just pretending like it's still alive. Yeah. Anyway, look him up. So yeah, so that's it for this stream. Yeah, be sure to any episode reviews you want me to do, make your requests and check out my Voyager, which I will be doing once a month. Hopefully, I'll try to do it once a month, each season of Voyager. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this long thing, and I will see you all next time.